In this video, I'll show you how to do working backwards from 4 for the 3 questions on the right. And working backwards from 4 involves starting at step 4 and working back to step 3, 2 and 1 in solving a trigonometry question. So before we do the 3 questions for working backwards from 4, we'll actually identify what step 4 is. So when we looked at step 1 in our previous videos, step 1 was to label the sides, and we started with hypotenuse, then we went to adjacent, and finally we went to opposite. And so there was step 1 done. Step 2 involved determining if we use sine, cosine or tan, and that was depending on which of the 3 sides had values. And we can see that we've got a value of 25 for the hypotenuse and a value of x for the opposite. So we're going to use sine theta. So we've got sine theta, or sine 40, equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so this is step 2. Step 3 becomes to put in the values. So we've got sine 40 equals opposite is x and hypotenuse is 25. So that becomes step 3. And step 4 will become multiplying both sides by 25, which is in this case, the denominator. So we've got 25 sine 40 equals x. So this is our step 4. And we'll just solve this one quickly. If we put into our calculator 25 sine 40, that becomes 16, x equals 16.07 centimetres. And so that's step 5. Okay, so we're going to do working backwards from 4. So we're going to work backwards from step 4 to step 3, to step 2, and then to step 1. So this is the exercise working backwards from 4 for our 3 questions on the right there. Let's get going on our first one. So we've got, as step 4, we've got 10 sine 15 equals x, and what we need to do is we need to have sine 15 by itself on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 10. And there we are. We can easily identify this is a level 1 question because x is on the numerator. Next, we need to, there we go, step 3. For step 2, what we need to do is we need to identify which is the opposite and which is the hypotenuse. So sine 15 equals OPP, opposite over HYP, hypotenuse. Then, step 2 is done. And finally, we've got step 1. So step 1 is to write the... Step 1 is to add an angle, 15. And then we need to identify the hypotenuse, the adjacent, and the opposite sides. And so there's step 1. And we will fill in the values. So our opposite will become x, and our hypotenuse will become 10. And so we have worked backwards from 4. So we went from step 4 to 3 to 2 over to 1. And so we've filled in our values on our triangle. So that's question 1 done, working backwards from 4. Question 2, working backwards from 4. So what we want to do is we want to do a flip of sine 15 in x. And so sine 15 will equal 10 over x. And so with the unknown in the denominator, that will become a level 2 question. Okay. Now let's go to step 2. We need to have sine 15 equals opposite over hypotenuse. There's step 2 done. And step 1 will become to label the sides. So we've got the hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite sides. And now we put our values in. So hypotenuse is, we can see, hypotenuse is x. And the opposite side is 10. Okay, so that's step 1 done. And so again, we've done from step 4 to step 3 to 2 and then to 1. Excellent. Let's move on to our third and final question. Okay, so theta is the unknown here. So theta equals sine to the power of negative 1, bracket 10 over 15. So this is at step 4. And step 3 becomes we want to move these two. So we've got, my apologies, step 3 will become we're going to move the sign. Okay, so it will be sine theta equals 10 over 15. So with theta as the unknown, this is a level 3 question. And so step 3 is done. Step 2 will become to add the trigonometric ratio. So sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So step 2 is done. And step 1 will become, according to the angle, step 1 will become to fill in or to label the sides. So we've got the hypotenuse, the adjacent, and opposite. And then we will fill in the values. So opposite becomes 10 and hypotenuse becomes 15. And so now we have gone from step 4 to step 3 to step 2 and then to step 1. So we've actually done working backwards from 4 for our 3 questions. If we put this into the calculator, 10 sine 15, the answer will become 2.59. Oh, can't write properly. Try again. 2.59, and so that there's no units on that. We don't know if it's centimetres, metres, or another unit. Okay, and step 5 on this one will become 10 divided by sine 15. So that will become 38.64. And so that's our length there. And finally for this one, our third one, so sine to the power of negative 1, 10 over 15. And so the answer becomes theta equal to 41.81 degrees. Okay, and so we've just gone through and solved step 5. Okay, thanks for watching.